Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Valsa Williams and with me is Manoj Singh Rana with the evening news. The headlines. Centre takes several initiatives to enhance availability of oxygen, streamline distribution and strengthen its storage infrastructure in the country. Over 17 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. India witnessing a declining trend in active number of coronavirus cases. National recovery rate also improving consistently. Indian Air Force and Indian Navy working on war footing to tackle current coronavirus situation. Oxygen Expresses deliver record 831 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen in a single day. Over 1 lakh metric tons of food grains distributed to over 2 crore beneficiaries by 12 states and union territories so far. Nearly 50,000 crore rupees transferred directly into farmers' accounts across the country on account of wheat procurement. New Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, urges militant groups of the state to shun the path of violence and join the mainstream. And Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli loses vote of confidence in lower house of Parliament. As the number of COVID cases is on the rise, we appeal to our listeners to take all precautions and all those above 18 years of age to get vaccinated without any hesitation. The vaccination for persons in the age group of 18 and 44 years has begun at designated facilities. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain the gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. In order to address the surge in demand for oxygen, the centre has undertaken key measures to increase the availability, streamline the distribution and strengthen the oxygen storage infrastructure in the country. The Commerce and Industry Ministry said the steps undertaken focused on the entire oxygen supply chain, including efforts for improving oxygen production, enhancing tanker availability to optimize logistics, improving oxygen storage at the last mile, and easing norms of procurement. Oxygen availability has been enhanced by increase in production capacity and production, setting up of pressure swing adsorption PSA plants, import of liquid medical oxygen LMO from overseas, and procurement of oxygen concentrators. For enhancing tanker availability to streamline transportation, nitrogen and argon tankers have been converted, tankers and containers have been imported, domestic manufacturing of tankers increased, and rail and air transportation of tankers is being undertaken to reduce turnaround time. Oxygen digital tracking system has been set up for real-time monitoring and driver availability is being enhanced with training of MHV drivers. For improving oxygen storage, number and capacity of cryogenic tankers at hospitals is being enhanced and medical oxygen cylinders are being procured. Relaxation of general financial rules has been undertaken to enable faster procurement of critical supplies.
Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar has said that the centre rigorously monitored and took swift measures in response to the COVID surge in the country, rebuffing claims regarding centre's underpreparedness to tackle the second surge of the pandemic. The Union Minister said that even in the month of January, when the caseload of corona patients in the country was low, the government did not lower its guard. He asserted that the Health Ministry teams were sent to Kerala in January itself to help the state control the surge in cases. Mr. Javadekar, in an op-ed written in a leading English daily, said that the centre continues to lead the COVID battle from the front and is committed to providing considerable support and guidance to the states. India is the fastest country globally to administer 17 crore COVID vaccine doses. It has taken 114 days for India to achieve this coverage, while China took 119 days and the USA 115 days for reaching the same landmark. Over 17 crore 1 lakh vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far. In the last 24 hours, more than 6.8 lakh vaccination doses were administered in the country.
India is witnessing a declining trend in the active number of COVID cases. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry today said the active cases comprise 16.52% of the cumulative positive cases. There are over 37,45,000 active cases in the country at present. As a positive sign, the COVID-19 recovery rate of the country is also consistently improving, as the country is registering more than 3 lakh recoveries daily over the past many days. The recovery rate has further improved to 82.38%. The Health Ministry has said over 3,53,000 patients have recovered from this infectious disease within 24 hours. The country has registered over 3,66,000 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry has said a total of 3,754 deaths have been reported in the country within 24 hours. Several states and union territories are still registering higher number of cases in the country. Several states have imposed or extended the lockdown to contain the COVID-19 cases. A 14-day lockdown began in Karnataka from today. The norms came into effect after the public were allowed to make purchases between 6 and 10 a.m. Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa has appealed to people to cooperate with the government in implementing the lockdown. Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Bengaluru South, Tejaswi Surya, has informed that the loopholes in the COVID hospital bed booking system have been plugged. Addressing media persons in the city today, he said new features have been added in the bed booking system software that will prevent misuse by vested interests.
A 2-week-long lockdown has been imposed in Rajasthan from 5 a.m. today. The lockdown will continue till the 24th of this month. During the period, there will be a ban on marriage ceremonies in the state till the 31st of May. Only registered marriages attended by not more than 11 people will be allowed. A 7-day-long total lockdown also began in Mizoram to control the surge in coronavirus cases in the state. Our Aizawl correspondent reports that the lockdown will remain in force till 4 a.m. of the 17th of this month. The Haryana government has extended the lockdown in the state till 5 a.m. on the 17th of May. The lockdown imposed earlier was supposed to end at 5 this morning. Chairman of the Executive Committee of the Haryana State Disaster Management Authority, Vijay Vardhan, said that the restrictions imposed earlier will continue with some addition and substitutions.
Even as new cases of COVID-19 seem to have plateaued in Maharashtra, some districts have announced strict lockdown measures to ensure that there is no further surge in cases. Nashik District Administration has decided to impose a 10-day lockdown from the 12th to the 22nd of May. Buldana District has also announced strict lockdown from this evening till the 20th of May. In Sindhudurg district as well, lockdown came into force from midnight last night and will continue till the 15th of May. Meanwhile, strict restrictions continue across the state to break the chain of coronavirus transmission. Days after the Supreme Court praised the Mumbai model of COVID-19 management, the civic body has shared its experience of how it managed to ensure that the patients were not left gasping for breath. Earlier in the day, Niti Aayog Chairman Amitabh Kant had also congratulated Mumbai Commissioner Iqbal Singh Chahal and his team for an inspirational Mumbai model of COVID management that included centralized bed allotment, anticipating oxygen storage facilities, dashboards for monitoring and war rooms for patient follow-up. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
According to Additional Municipal Commissioner P. Velrasu, the preparation to deal with a possible oxygen shortage began in May last year when the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai started resource mapping and inventory accounting. The Commissioner informed that an oxygen team was formed to visit each and every hospital to check their storage capacity, piping status, supply method and suppliers list. Over the next 2 months, capacity was increased by installing oxygen tanks at COVID care centers and 6 hospitals at the cost of about 14 crores. Besides, forming ward-level committees to monitor demand and supply to every hospital and heeding the advice of using non-ventilation methods instead of the high-flow nasal cannula method to supply oxygen to patients proved quite efficient. Tiding over the second wave, the civic body is now planning to install self-generating oxygen plants in all civic-run hospitals in preparation for the possible third wave. Nisha Rani, AIR News, Mumbai.
Union Minister of State for Home Affairs G. Kishan Reddy today visited the COVID-19 dedicated ward at AIIMS at BB Nagar in Telangana. He reviewed the medical facilities, including the oxygen concentrator that produces 1,000 litres of oxygen per minute, and discussed the immediate steps to augment beds and medical supplies with the officials. Later, speaking to the media, the minister said beds at the hospital will be increased to 200 soon. The minister also inspected the oxygen cylinders and other medical supplies received from different countries and allocated by the centre during the visit. The Kerala government has put a cap on COVID treatment charges in private hospitals. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said the order must be implemented immediately. More from our Thiruvananthapuram correspondent.
The official order was issued today, fixing maximum rate to be charged for COVID treatment in private hospitals with detailed rates for general ward, HDU, ICU and ventilator facilities. The order further states that hospitals with charges more than the fixed rate will be imposed fines up to 10 times the additional charges. Authorities and DMOs are assigned to check all the complaints related to the medical charges. High Court of Kerala has praised the state government's decision after the State Council told the court that all the charges related to COVID treatment were unified. Meanwhile, 27,487 new COVID cases were confirmed in the state today, taking the active case load to over 419,000. The test positivity rate is at 27.56%. Over 31,000 recoveries were also recorded. 68 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. Mayusha Poya, News from Thiruvananthapuram.
In Tamil Nadu, the number of fresh cases recorded today is nearing 29,000. The State Health Department has said that 1,52,000 people are under treatment. Chennai has once again registered over 7,000 cases, followed by Coimbatore and Chengalpet. More from our Chennai correspondent.
An Indian Air Force flight today carrying 400 numbers of 8,600 kilograms of oxygen concentrators reached Chennai today. They were sent to the Omandurar Government Hospital. The Madras High Court has ordered the centre to manufacture oxygen through DRDO to meet the oxygen demand of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry as a preparatory measure to contain the expected third wave. In a suo motu case, the High Court said that the centre should equip the health infrastructure so that more damages could be prevented during the third wave. In a related development in the state, TVS Charitable Trust has offered 18 crore worth 1,600 oxygen concentrators to the state. Out of this today, 500 oxygen concentrators were given. Temasek Foundation has given 300 oxygen concentrators, each with 5-liter capacity. Joy, AIR News, Chennai.
The Mission Director of the National Health Mission in Jammu and Kashmir, Chaudhry Mohammad Yasin, has said that monthly stipends shall be paid to the final year MBBS students who will render their valuable services in various hospitals across the Union Territory in these difficult times following the upsurge in COVID-19 cases. More from our Srinagar correspondent.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the administration has called upon the health institutions across Jammu and Kashmir to utilize the services of final year MBBS students for providing services like teleconsultations and monitoring of mild COVID cases after due orientation and supervision of senior faculty. In a communicative principles of Government Medical Colleges of Jammu and Kashmir, a monthly stipend of ₹5,000 shall be paid to all such final year MBBS students under COVID-19 Emergency Response Package of National Health Mission Jammu and Kashmir who work for at least 100 days for COVID care in accordance with the notification issued by Union Ministry for Health and Family Welfare. Sunil Kohl for AIR News from Srinagar.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Centre takes several initiatives to enhance availability of oxygen, streamline distribution and strengthen its storage infrastructure in the country. Over 17 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. India witnessing a declining trend in active number of coronavirus cases, national recovery rate also improving consistently. Indian Air Force and Indian Navy working on war footing to tackle current coronavirus situation. Oxygen Expresses deliver record 831 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen in a single day. Over 1 lakh metric tons of food grains distributed to over 2 crore beneficiaries by 12 states and union territories so far. Nearly 50,000 crore rupees transferred directly into farmers' accounts across the country on account of wheat procurement. New Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, urges militant groups of the state to shun the path of violence and join the mainstream. And Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli loses vote of confidence in lower house of parliament. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the evening news. The Union Ministry of Health today said that the centre has expeditiously delivered global aid to states and union territories through a whole-of-government approach. The ministry said 8,900 oxygen concentrators, 5,043 oxygen cylinders, 18 oxygen generation plants, 5,698 ventilators and nearly 3.4 lakh remdesivir vials have been delivered so far. It said effective immediate allocation and streamlined delivery to the recipient states and institutions is an ongoing exercise and it is being comprehensively monitored on a regular basis. The Indian Air Force and Indian Navy are working tirelessly to provide logistic support to shore up medical supplies to tackle the current COVID-19 situation. As of today, the Indian Air Force aircraft carried out 534 sorties from various parts of the country, airlifting 336 oxygen containers of total capacity of 6,420 metric tons and other medical supplies and equipment. The Indian Air Force aircraft also carried out 84 international sorties, airlifting 81 cryogenic oxygen storage containers of total capacity of 1,407 metric tons, along with 1,252 empty oxygen cylinders, 705 oxygen concentrators, and respiratory oxygen raw material zeolite. The equipment has been procured from Singapore, Dubai, Thailand, United Kingdom, Germany, Belgium, Australia, Indonesia and Israel. As part of Operation Samudra Setu, 2 Indian naval ships INS Airavat, Trikand and Kolkata arrived back home with critical COVID-19 medical stores from friendly foreign countries today.
In another step in support of India's efforts to fight the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, Germany has sent an oxygen plant with a capacity of generating 4 lakh litres of oxygen. The massive oxygen generation plant will serve the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel COVID Hospital in Delhi, which is being operated by the Defence Research and Development Organisation, DRDO. German Ambassador to India, Walter Linden, inspected the plant today. Speaking to All India Radio News, Ambassador Lindner said he visited the plant and oversaw the test run of the plant.
It's quite a huge oxygen-producing plant, so we needed 2 big air transporters, A400M buses from the German military, which brought in the first part last Thursday and then last Friday the second part. And today I visited it already, and so they did the test runs, and so by tomorrow they will be instructing and teaching the Indian side to maneuver it, because it will be then in the hands of the Indian army. And then I'm hopeful that on Wednesday it will be operational, and then we can already start working and saving lives.
A shipment of 10 oxygen concentrators and 141 ventilators from Spain reached India today. MEA spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said India values the support from our European Union partner, Spain. Overcoming all hurdles and finding new solutions, the Indian Railways is continuing its journey of bringing relief by delivering liquid medical oxygen, LMO, to various states across the country. Yesterday, Oxygen Expresses delivered record 831 metric tons of LMO, a record for one single day. 75 Oxygen Expresses have already completed their journey so far. The Indian Railways has so far delivered nearly 4,700 metric tons of LMO in more than 295 tankers to various states across the country. More loaded Oxygen Expresses are expected to start their journeys later in the night.
The successful rollout of ex-defence OPD of eSanjeevani platform, eSanjeevaniOPD.in, on the 7th of this month has been further strengthened today. Retired Armed Forces Medical Services doctors have come forward and extended their support to the needy patients in Rajasthan. 21 doctors are providing free consultation to those who don't have access to medical facilities nearby. This facility will be extended to other states shortly. mRNA vaccines are being hailed as breakthrough medical technology which spearheads the fight against the coronavirus pandemic in the developed world. This technology, which underlies the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, has particular features which makes them more effective in the fight against the coronavirus. Speaking exclusively to AIR News, Mr. Achal Prabhala, a writer and researcher who works extensively in the field of intellectual property and its application to medicine and knowledge, explains the mRNA technology.
The mRNA vaccines, the unique thing about them is that they can be produced as a chemical process, not a biological process. All other older vaccine technologies, they require a virus or a protein to be cultivated and grown. And that takes trouble and that also takes time. It means also that the expertise required to make older vaccines is more specialized. So not every pharmaceutical company in India, for instance, can make an older vaccine technology. You have to have worked on the broader class of drugs that vaccines fall under, which are called biologics, in order to be able to make a vaccine.
For the full interview, tune in to World News program on FM Gold at 10:30 p.m. tonight. The ongoing pandemic has impacted the mental health of people. Talking to AIR News, Dr. R.P. Beniwal, professor in the Department of Psychiatry at Dr. RML Hospital in New Delhi, said most of the COVID-positive people recover at home with mild symptoms. He said people should not fear thinking of the consequences of getting infected with the virus. Dr. Beniwal said to avoid fear and anxiety, one should indulge in activities of their interest. He added, it instantly helps in distracting the mind and easing the anxiety.
Try to divert our attention and try to keep busy yourself in other activities of your interest. आपको जिन चीजों में ज्यादा मजा आता है, जैसे किसी को न्यूज पेपर पढ़ने में मजा आता है, किसी को स्टोरी बुक में मजा आता है, किसी को नॉवल में मजा आता है, किसी को सीरियल देखने में मजा आता है, किसी को मूवी देखने में मजा आता है, वो अपने इंटरेस्ट की चीजों में अपने आप को बिजी रखे। एक बार आपने अटेंशन डाइवर्ट किया और एक मूवी शुरू कर दी, वो 2 घंटे तक आपको बिजी रखेगी। अननेसेसरी के अनवांटेड थॉट आपके ब्रेन में नहीं आएंगे और हमें बस उन्हीं को बचाना है।
The Finance Ministry today said it is factually incorrect to state that there is no provision for expenditure on COVID-19 vaccination by the central government. It said the amount of 35,000 crore rupees shown under demand for grants titled transfers to states in no way implies that the expenditure cannot be incurred by the centre. Rejecting media reports in a statement, the ministry said vaccines have actually been and are being procured by and paid for by the centre through this head of account. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry today said that the COVID-19 help desk started by the Directorate General of Foreign Trade has resolved 78 issues out of the 163 requests received, seeking support, policy clarity and relaxations. The ministry in a statement said in view of the surge in COVID-19 cases, the COVID-19 help desks from 26th of April started collecting information on the difficulties so as to examine and resolve the irritants faced by the trade and industry expeditiously.
The government has said that over 1 lakh metric tons of food grains distributed to over 2 crore beneficiaries by 12 states and union territories so far under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana PMGKAY3. Secretary, Department of Food and Public Distribution, Sudhanshu Pandey today briefed the media about PMGKAY3 and One Nation, One Ration Card ONORC scheme through a virtual press conference. He said the department started implementation of the scheme for 2 months, May and June this year, by providing an additional quota of free-of-cost food grains at a scale of 5 kilograms per person per month. Mr. Pandey informed that the distribution of food grains is going as per schedule for the month of May, and so far 15.55 lakh metric tons of food grains have been lifted from the Food Corporation of India depots by 34 states and union territories for this month. He also informed that 49,965 crore rupees have been transferred directly into farmers' accounts across India through direct benefit transfer on account of wheat procurement. Puducherry has become the Har Ghar Jal Union territory by ensuring that every rural home gets a household tap connection. Puducherry has now become the fourth state or union territory after Goa, Telangana and Andaman and Nicobar Islands to provide assured tap water supply to every rural home under the central government's flagship program, Jal Jeevan Mission. Ministry of Jal Shakti in a statement said that all 1.16 lakh rural households in Puducherry have tap water supply now.
Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has urged militant groups of the state to shun violence. Mr. Sarma was speaking to media persons after taking oath as the Chief Minister of Assam. He also appealed to ALSA leader Paresh Barwa to return to the mainstream. He said that the first cabinet meeting of his government will be held tomorrow. Mr. Sarma said that his government would take steps to fulfill poll promises. Earlier in the day, the senior BJP leader was sworn in as the new Chief Minister of Assam. Governor Professor Jagdish Mukhi administered the oath of office in secrecy to him.
Moi Shri Himanta Biswa Sarmai Ishorer namot shopot khai kওঁ যে অসম ৰাজ্যৰ মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰী স্বৰূপে মোৰ কৰ্তব্যৰ যথাযথ সম্পাদনত আৱশ্যক হোৱাৰ বাহিৰে.
Along with Mr. Sarma, 13 ministers also took oath today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Assam new Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma and other ministers who took oath today. In West Bengal, 43 ministers were sworn in at a simple ceremony held at the Raj Bhavan in Kolkata this morning. Governor Jagdeep Dhankar administered the oath of office in secrecy to them. After the oath-taking ceremony, the new ministers attended the first cabinet meeting at State Secretariat.
Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has lost the vote of confidence in the House of Representatives. He secured only 93 votes in the lower house of parliament during a special session convened on the directives of President Vidya Devi Bhandari. The required number of votes is 136 to save the government. Mr. Oli required at least 136 votes in the 275-member House of Representatives to win the confidence motion, as 4 members are currently under suspension. At the domestic stock markets, key indices rose for the 4th straight session today. A report from the Business World.
The Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange gained 296 points or 0.6% to close at 49,502. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange rose 119 points to 14,942. Global crude oil prices rose after a major cyber attack forced the shutdown of fuel supply pipelines in the US. So Brent crude oil prices rose 72 cents to $69 a barrel. Gold climbed 240 rupees to 47,991 rupees per 10 grams at Delhi's bullion market. And at the forex market, rising for the 3rd straight session, the rupee appreciated 16 paisa against the dollar to close at 73.35. Anubha Rahadgi for AIR News.
Now let us take a look at the weather report and forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder lightning. The minimum temperature will be 24 degrees Celsius and the maximum is expected to be 39 degrees. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. The maximum temperature will be 34 degrees Celsius and the minimum will be 26 degrees. Kolkata will see rain or thunder shower with strong gusty winds. Chennai will have a partly cloudy sky. Jammu will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Srinagar will have thunderstorm with rain. Leh will see a partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be 6 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be 19 degrees. Gilgit will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Muzaffarabad, the sky will be partly cloudy with rain or thunderstorm or dust storm.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Centre takes several initiatives to enhance availability of oxygen, streamline distribution and strengthen its storage infrastructure in the country. Over 17 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. India witnessing a declining trend in active number of coronavirus cases, national recovery rate also improving consistently. Indian Air Force and Indian Navy working on war footing to tackle current coronavirus situation. Oxygen Expresses deliver record 831 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen in a single day. Over 1 lakh metric tons of food grains distributed to over 2 crore beneficiaries by 12 states and union territories so far. Nearly 50,000 crore rupees transferred directly into farmers' accounts across the country on account of wheat procurement. New Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, urges militant groups of the state to shun the path of violence and join the mainstream. And Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli loses vote of confidence in lower house of parliament. And with that we end the evening news. Good night.